most fundamental idea in Scientology is called the cycle of action. Cycle means a span of time with a beginning and an end. A section of the totality of time with a beginning and an end. In beginningless and endless time, one can set out periods which do have a beginning and an end insofar as action is concerned. Action means motion or movement, an act, a consideration that motion has occurred. In very ancient books, it is written that from chaos came birth. From birth, there was growth. When growth was achieved, there was then a gradual decay. The decay then ended in death. After death, there was chaos. Scientology expresses this more briefly. The cycle of action is an apparency as follows: create, then survive, then destroy. Or creation, survival, destruction. First, there is creation. This is then followed by survival. This is followed by destruction. Apparency means appears to be, as distinct from what actually is. This cycle is only an apparency. It is what we see, what we behold, what we believe. We consider that it is so, and we then see it so. A child is born, he grows, he reaches manhood, he grows old, he dies. In Scientology, it can be seen that none of these steps are necessary. One considers them so, and so they are true. A man can grow old quickly or slowly. He grows old to the degree that he believes he is growing old. Because everyone agrees that this is the way things are, they go that way. The cycle is not true. It is only apparent. It is apparent because we believe we see it. It is apparent because we agree that it should be so. The woman growing old, wishing to appear younger, is protesting this cycle of action. She feels there is something wrong with it. There is. We have to find out what the actual cycle is before we can make people better. Actual means what is really true. That which exists despite all apparencies. That which underlies the way things seem to be. The way things really are. The actual cycle of action is as follows: create, 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 create. Create, counter-create. No creation, nothingness. Create means to make, manufacture, construct, postulate, bring into beingness. Create. Create, create, create means to create again continuously, one moment after the next. Survive. Create, counter-create. means to create something against a creation. To create one thing and then create something else against it. Destroy. No creation means an absence of any creation. No creative activity. An actual cycle of action, then, consists of various activities, but each and every one of them is creative. The cycle of action contains an apparency of survival. But this is actually only a continuous creation. Create, create, create. The apparent cycle of action contains destruction. But the actual cycle of action tells us what destruction is. Destruction is one of two activities. Destruction is, in terms of action, a creation of something against a creation of something else. Create, counter-create. For example, a wall is seen standing. To be apparent, it is necessary that the wall be constantly created. The act of destruction is to exert against the wall another creativeness, that is, the action or activity of knocking the wall down. Both the wall standing there and the action of knocking it down are creative actions. Because we may object to or dislike a wall being knocked down, we vilify the creativeness involved in knocking it down with the word destructive. Actuality tells us that there is no such thing as destruction. There is only creation against a creation. There is another type of destruction, and this is no more creation. No creation. By no longer being a party to the wall's creation, the wall, in theory, can cease to exist for one. This is true in actual practice in Scientology. Reality means the way things appear. Reality is apparency. To do anything about reality, one must search into and discover what underlies the apparency. Of what does reality consist? We see an apparency which has the cycle of action of create, survive, destroy. More basically, this cycle of action contains nothing but creation. If one stops making something completely and ceases to be a party to its manufacture, it no longer exists for one. If one ceases to create, there is nothingness. When one creates something, or beholds something which is created, that thing is still being created. Even if one is creating something with his left hand and has forgotten about it with his right hand, the thing still exists. In other words, one can create something without knowing it is still being created. Then one seeks to destroy it by a counter-creation.
All right, you guys, bringing it down. Let's go. All right, stand back. Let's go.
The result is a chaos. created by two opposing creations. Let us be practical. A theory is no good unless it works. All the fancy and beautiful theory in the world is useless unless it has a use or a workability. Is this cycle of action theory useful? It is. So long as we believe that we have to destroy with force in order to destroy at all, as long as we think in terms of destruction, we have chaos. There is creating and knowing one is creating. There is creating and not knowing one is creating. When one drives a car or a cart, he does many things which he is not aware of, and these we call automatic actions. One is doing something and is not aware that he is doing it. One starts to create something.
What do you call that, maggots? I don't call that running. Do you drop and give me 20?
Then places this thought, still active, beyond his own reach, and the creation continues to occur.
Pick up that knife! Come on, maggot, pick that knife up! Drop and give me 20!
Knowingly creating something is always the first condition.
Drop and give me 20!
One can then purposefully continue the creation unknowingly.
3.7 seconds to get that started. I want you to get my change. I want you to get it for me right now. In fact, get down behind this counter and give me 20 push-ups, maggot, right now.
Everything one is doing, knowingly or unknowingly, one is doing here and now, in the present instant, in present time.
Now I'm going to give you 3.7 seconds to get started.
One knowingly started any creation in some past moment. But the creation is being done in the present moment.
Get that done. 2, 3, go! Go!
To stop any creation, it can be established that one once knew one was creating it, finding that thought and making it known again. Or one can simply create newly and consciously what one is already creating unconsciously, unknowingly. In either case, the creation stops. The wrong way is to start a new creation to counter against the old creation. When one does this, he gets confusion and chaos. A man has a job. He works at it. That is to say, he creates a job throughout the days, weeks, and years. As long as he makes a job, the job exists. One day, he depends upon, takes for granted, this job. He no longer creates it. It ceases to exist. He has no job. The apparency is that he loafed, became lazy, and was discharged. The actuality is that he no longer created a job, and so didn't have one. For example, a man depends upon a woman to keep his house for him. One day, he no longer has a woman. He can't keep house even though before he married the woman, he could keep house. For example, a man is sane. He gets the idea that it would be better to be insane. He starts to go insane, and then does numberless things in order to stay sane. Here, he was already creating the state of sanity. He counter-created insanity. He then counter-created sanity against insanity. There There are many tests for these principles in Scientology. Such tests come under the heading of processing.